In the village of Nyanda, life was simple and peaceful. The men worked in the fields, the women cooked and cared for the children, and the elders told stories under the big baobab tree. The people were happy. But one night, everything changed. It started with a loud scream from the forest. Then came the sound of heavy footsteps, like a giant walking through the trees. The ground shook. The wind howled. And then, a deep voice called out, "I am coming for you." The villagers ran into their huts and shut their doors. Mothers held their children close. Men grabbed their spears but did not dare go outside. For hours, the strange voice echoed through the village. Then, just before sunrise, it stopped. The night became silent again. In the morning, the villagers gathered in fear. "What was that?" one woman asked. "It was an evil spirit," an old man said. "A spirit that walks at night." Chief Okumu stood up. "We must find out what is haunting our village. Tonight, the warriors will keep watch." But when night came, and the evil spirit returned, even the bravest warriors trembled in fear. Something terrible was coming for them. That night, the warriors sat around a big fire, holding their spears tightly. The village was silent, except for the sound of insects and the rustling of leaves. Then, just like the night before, a deep voice echoed through the air. "I am coming for you." The ground shook. The wind roared. The warriors gripped their weapons, but fear was in their eyes. Suddenly, a loud scream came from the other side of the village. The warriors ran toward the sound, but when they arrived, they found only an empty hut. The owner of the hut, a young man named Jumo, was gone. His mother fell to the ground, crying, "Jumo, my son." Chief Okumu clenched his fist. "The spirit has taken him," he said. "We must do something before it takes more of us." The villagers searched the forest the next morning, but they found no sign of Jumo. Only his footprints led into the trees, then disappeared. Fear spread through the village. That night, nobody slept. Mothers held their children close, and men stood guard with spears. But when the deep voice returned, the warriors did not move. They were too afraid. And before sunrise, another villager was taken. One by one, the evil spirit was eating them. The sun rose over Nyanda, but the village was quiet. The people gathered in the center, whispering in fear. Another villager was missing. This time, it was Akin, a young woman who had been fetching water the night before. Her mother sobbed, rocking back and forth. "My daughter is gone. The spirit has eaten her." Chief Okumu's face was dark with worry. "We must do something. If this continues, no one will be left." "But what can we do?" an old woman cried. "We do not see the spirit. We do not hear it coming. How can we fight something we do not understand?" The chief turned to the elders. "What do the ancestors say?" An old man named Bobu Otieno cleared his throat. "Long ago, such spirits haunted the land. But our forefathers knew a way to stop them. We must seek the help of a great medicine man." Hope sparkled in the villagers' eyes. Maybe there was a way to stop the spirit. Maybe they could still save themselves. But the nearest medicine man lived deep in the dangerous forest. And someone had to go find him. The villagers chose a young hunter named Amani to go into the forest and find the great medicine man, Olu the Wise. With only a spear and a small bag of food, Amani entered the dark woods. The trees whispered in the wind. Strange sounds filled the air. But he kept walking. He had to save his people. After many hours, he came to a small hut in the middle of the forest. Smoke rose from the roof. A tall, thin man with white hair stood outside, waiting. "You seek my help," the old man said before Amani could speak. "The evil spirit haunts your village." Amani nodded. "Yes, Great Olu. Every night, it comes and takes one of us. No one has seen it. No one knows how to stop it. Olu closed his eyes and murmured ancient words. Then he opened them and said, "The spirit is cursed. It was once a man, but now it feeds on human flesh. To stop it, you must trap it before sunrise. Only then can it be destroyed." "But how do we trap something we cannot see?" Amani asked. Olu handed him a small gourd filled with red powder. "Sprinkle this outside the village. When the spirit steps on it, its footprints will appear. Follow them before dawn. That is your only chance." Amani thanked the medicine man and hurried back to the village. He had a plan. And this time, they would not run in fear. The villagers waited for nightfall. Amani sprinkled the red powder around the village. The warriors held their spears, ready for battle. Then, as expected, the deep voice came again. "I am coming for you." The wind howled. The ground shook. The fire flickered. And then, a scream. But this time, Amani and the warriors did not run to the hut. Instead, they looked at the ground. And there, clear as day, were two large footprints glowing red. "The spirit!" Amani shouted. "Follow its tracks." The warriors ran, following the footprints as they led into the forest. The spirit moved fast, but they ran faster. Then, deep in the woods, the footprints stopped. Before them stood a giant, dark figure with glowing red eyes. It was covered in shadows, its mouth dripping with blood. The warriors trembled, but Amani held up his spear. "Tonight, we end this." The spirit let out a terrible roar and charged at them. The warriors threw their spears. The spirit howled in pain, but it did not fall. Then, Amani remembered the medicine man's words, "Trap it before sunrise." He grabbed a strong rope from his bag and leaped at the spirit, wrapping it around its legs. The warriors joined him, pulling the rope tight. The spirit screamed and thrashed, but it could not escape. Then, as the first light of dawn touched the sky, the spirit let out a final, horrible scream. Its body turned to dust and vanished into the wind. The evil spirit was gone. The warriors returned to the village with the good news. The people cheered and cried with joy. "The spirit is dead," Chief Okumu declared. "Our people are safe once more." The villagers danced and sang for the first time in many moons. They returned to their farms, their rivers, and their stories under the baobab tree. As for Amani, he was honored as a great hero. The elders said his name would be remembered for generations. But the villagers never forgot the lesson they had learned. Evil may come in the night. But with courage, wisdom, and unity, even the darkest spirits can be defeated.